Hey folks, Eric here. Just wanted to make this video to check in on my 2023 goals. So two things. I know we're already 1 week into May, and I did not make a video at the end of March. So I decided to combine March and April together. Right at the end of March, beginning of April, I was on my trip out west to do that race in Texas and to spend some time in New Orleans and New Mexico. So it was hard for me to make a video at that time. By the time I got back, I decided, why don't I put March and April together? Also, I kind of want to think about retooling some of my goals. As you'll find out in this video, I've achieved a lot of the things that I set out to achieve this year. And rather than, run out of goals, I wanted to make some new ones. So decided to make this video today to let you know where I'm at. To update you on how my March and April went, and to set out some goals for the rest of the year. If you didn't see my initial video about my 2023 goals, you can check it out right here. I came up with 9 goals for the year, and let's see how I am on those. So my first goal for 2023 was to ride a total of 5,000 miles. Now that would be in a combination of real-world miles out on the road and also indoors in ZWIFT. I ride in ZWIFT on my Garmin Tax Neo bike. So let's check out where we are on that. We're going to hop in Strava and look at the monthly calendars. So in January, rode a total of 615 miles, mostly indoors in ZWIFT. I was doing that 6-week FTP builder, so 4 or 5 days a week I was doing a workout. I did ride 1 metric century. February, a few less days, a few less miles, 512 miles, still mostly indoors, got outdoors a few more times. Now in March, a lot more miles, 683 miles, including some notable rides outdoors. Did my first group ride, did my first gravel ride, and I rode my first century of 2023. Actually did a video about all of those things, so check those out on here. In April, probably the most miles I've ever ridden in a month. I would have to check on that, but 868 miles, including that 200-mile race that I'll talk about here in a second, and also another century ride. So 868 miles in April. January through April, that totals 2,678 miles. So that's like 53% towards my goal of 5,000 miles. I'm pretty sure I'm going to shatter that goal of 5,000 miles by maybe late July, early August, so I may have to update that goal. We will see about that. My goal number 2 for 2023 is to collect all the ZWIFT badges I can. So let's hop over to ZWIFT and see how those badges are shaking out. At the end of February, I had a total of 97 of 188 badges. And now at the end of April, I have 125 of 191 badges. Some of the more notable badges that I got in ZWIFT during March and April are, number 1, the liftoff badge. I had mentioned this during my February wrap-up video, that I was going to get on in early March and try to climb the Alpe du ZWIFT in under an hour. And I am happy to say I was successful in that. I actually set off trying to hold my FTP of 304 for as long as possible. And then at that point, I would just do my best to try to get up in under an hour. And that worked out. A couple more badges that I consider to be of note in March and April. There are a few here that are power related. So I've been trying to see kind of how much power I can put out on the bike. Just for little short bursts, definitely can't sustain these. So there's a 800 watt, a 900 watt, a 1000, and a 1100 watt badge. The 1100 watt badge sort of surprised me. I didn't know I was going to be able to hit that one, but that worked out. There's also a 1200 watt badge. Don't look to see me get that anytime soon. There's a badge you can get on here for riding a century ride in ZWIFT, that being 100 miles. It's a bit of a brutal badge, as it can get pretty boring to ride that many miles in ZWIFT and not go anywhere. But I may set up a live stream here where I try to do that, so look for that coming up. One thing I gotta say about riding in ZWIFT is I've been riding in ZWIFT a lot less these days for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's been a lot better weather outdoors. So I've been riding outdoors a lot more. And number two, I don't know if you guys were watching the live stream a couple weeks ago or saw the video that came out. Currently, my Tax Neo bike is broken. This left crank arm actually came off while I was riding one time just on a training ride. And I put it back on, tightened the Allen screw back up. And right when I was trying to live stream a race that I was really going for, it fell off again. And I was pretty devastated by that, actually. It was kind of a bummer. Had my adrenaline pumping about riding that race and felt pretty good in the moment, and here the pedal came off again. So I've been in talks with Garmin on getting something out to repair that. They've sent, I don't know if it's a part they've sent or a kit to repair this, but I do have something coming out to hopefully put this left crank arm back on the Tax Neo and get back to Zwifting. So I am going to do a video about trying to fix this left crank arm and how it works. So stay tuned to hear about that, but hope to get Zwifting soon. While I'm in Zwift here, I want to go ahead and check on my progress getting the TRON bike. My third goal for 2023 was to get the TRON bike, and you get that for just doing a lot of climbing here in Zwift. So right now, as it stands, I've climbed 22,592 meters of the 50,000 meters required to get the TRON bike. So I am 45% of the way there. So far, it is tracking to get that TRON bike before the end of the year. I may just start heading up the Alp du Zwift a few times a week or maybe a time a week and see if I can get there a little bit sooner. Definitely want to get that TRON bike. It's a bit of a status symbol there in Zwift, so looking to do that. My fourth goal for 2023 was to get an FTP of 300 watts. Talked about this back in February, did the 6-week FTP builder, built my FTP up to 304 watts. So as of right now, that goal is completed. I will, once it gets to be sort of indoor season again later this year, I do want to retake the FTP test and kind of see where I ended up, see where all the outdoor riding and outdoor training I'm going to be doing will place it. So we'll check back later in the year and see where that goes. My fifth goal for 2023 was to compete in a race. I had done some Zwift racing, but I really wanted to do an outdoor race. And on April 1st, I competed in this Texas Stampede 200. It's a 200-mile race out in Fredericksburg, Texas. Goes through a lot of Texas hill country. Over 9,000 feet of climbing, which is definitely the most climbing I've ever done, not being a climber. 200 miles is also the most miles I've ever ridden. I did a video on here where I talked about that race specifically. Also did a video talking about signing up for it, how I prepared for it. And I did a video where I talked to my friend Troy, kind of afterwards, did a bit of a recap. So there's a playlist all about the Texas Stampede 200. Check out that playlist right here. I'll go ahead and show you. Did get a medal for that. So that's the medal for the Texas Stampede 200. They also have a really cool shirt. Let's check that out. There is a jersey on the way. All the finishers get a jersey, but that just hasn't arrived yet. I'm sure I'll show it off on the channel when time comes. But yeah, Texas Stampede. It ended up being 203 miles, 11 hours, 32 minutes of moving time. I think all told, I was out on the course probably 12 and a half hours. There was probably about an hour's worth of stopping at stop signs and taking breaks. And at one point I had to go in and buy water at a general store. But 9,140 feet of climbing, at least that's what my Garmin says. Average 17.6 miles per hour, which is way faster than I ever thought I would. So yeah. First race of 2023, done. I am contemplating signing up for another race, another endurance race at the beginning of August. Don't really see myself doing a lot of real world crit races. That kind of riding kind of scares me. I don't want to have somebody crash me out or crash somebody else out due to my lack of experience and my terrible handling. So At least for this year, it's going to be the longer endurance style road races. But I'll talk more about the race in August when it comes up. Until then, going to do some more Zwift racing once I get the indoor bike fixed. My sixth goal for 2023 was to do a multi-day tour. Haven't gotten around to doing that yet, but I do have something planned for June. Once June rolls around, I'll start talking about that, but that one I need to do yet. My seventh goal for 2023 was to do a gravel ride. I have a Trek Cross Rip, which is a cyclocross bike, but it's perfectly suited for gravel. But I've never done any kind of gravel riding on that bike before. So on March 5th, I went out to Witherby Station out in Francis Marion National Park and joined the Sunday Dirt Church riders. They get out there and do gravel rides every Sunday. I joined the C group. We rode 42 miles at around 15 miles an hour. Nobody was going crazy because there was a lot of potholes and everything we were dodging. Had a really good time. Haven't had the chance to get out there again because of travel and the race and just all the things that have come up. Got rained out of it a few times, but I would like to get out there and do some more gravel riding with them. My eighth goal for 2023 was to do some mountain bike riding. Still haven't gotten around to that. In June, I'm going to be in Ohio for a week, so I hope to get together with Troy from Ohio Mountain Bike Trails to do some kind of hopefully easy mountain bike riding. I'm not a very good handler and not very experienced with mountain biking at all. So hopefully Troy will take it easy on me, but we'll make some videos about that. My ninth goal that I had initially made for 2023, and this is kind of a strange open-ended goal that's sort of hard to track, but I said I want to become a better YouTuber. And that could mean a lot of things. But what I've taken it to mean is I really want to keep creating content that is not only interesting, but I want to continue to build the community that I have. When I started doing the live streams back in January, had a lot of people start to come on and watch the live streams and comment and kind of join me in ZWIFT and comment on Strava and have really formed a good community with those guys. And I just want to keep doing that. I want to keep making videos that are not only entertaining, but informative. I'd like to do some more reviews this year. I'd like to do some more races, just things that I would find interesting, if I came across my channel. So I hope to continue to do that. If you guys have any suggestions, things you want to see me do, things you want to see me try out, I'd love it if you commented. Also, I do want to start talking about other YouTube channels that I enjoy on here. There are a lot of YouTubers, especially in Zwift, doing the live streams and the Zwift races that I would like to start talking to. So look for that coming up soon. So I did say earlier that I do want to come up with some more goals for 2023. It's only May right now, and I'm pretty far along completing the things I set out to do so far. So there are a few more that I kind of want to add to this. The first goal that I would like to add to my 2023 set of goals is to engage more with the community. And that includes a lot of different communities. Number one, I would like to engage more with the YouTube community. There are other YouTubers that I really enjoy their channels. People like Eric Lee from Don't Get Dropped, Cadman Cycling, Rob Bain goes by Zwifty Zwifter. Rob is also a member of a really good podcast here on YouTube called In the Drops, and it's about Zwift racing. So I'd like to talk to those guys more. I'd like to get together with my friend Troy from Ohio Mountain Bike Trails. I'd like to talk to and about a lot of my friends here on YouTube and just engage and make sure my audience knows about them. Also, I had a group in Zwift. We called ourselves N+1, and it was a lot of the people who were tuning in to those initial live streams I started doing. And we all started to get to know each other and compare our goals and compare our progress. I've done a couple group rides since the beginning of the year in Zwift with them, but I would like to engage a lot more with those folks, make sure we're keeping in touch with each other and being accountability towards each other and achieving our goals. Also, local rides and local clubs. When I started out doing this, I hadn't done a lot of group rides around Charleston. Since then, I've done 2 of the Saturday group rides from my local Trek store. On April 15th, I did a century ride that was a locally organized ride. I mentioned the dirt church that I rode with, but there's a lot more local group rides that I'd like to take part in and get to know other local riders. I still would like to find a bike shop that's my go-to. There's a lot of local bike shops here, and I do enjoy them, but I want to find that one bike shop that's the one I go to. So, like I said, next goal is sort of engaging in the community a lot more. If you have tips and ideas for that, be sure to reach out and let me know what I can do. A challenge that I've had, especially in the last few weeks, has been staying motivated. And not just staying motivated to ride. I always love getting on the bike and riding. But whenever there are setbacks, remaining motivated. Like when I had that crank arm come off of the indoor bike and I couldn't ZWIFT, I was really bummed out. I had a lot of plans to do a lot of ZWIFT races. I want to get better at ZWIFT racing. I wanted to do more live streams, but having that bike sort of go out of commission means that I haven't ridden in ZWIFT in over a week. And that's something that's sort of a demotivator, something I've been kind of bummed out about. So, in the face of setbacks, trying to stay motivated. Everybody's schedule gets crazy. My schedule gets pretty crazy. I work full time. I'm also a gigging musician. So when these things start to stack up, being able to still, ride the bike, get my training in, get my video making in, engage with other people. So still trying to figure out how to work this whole thing together, how to get that balance going. Also, ever since I rode that race at the beginning of April, I have had a lot of back and neck trouble. And there's 2 things I want to look into on trying to resolve that. Number 1, I really do need a bike fit. I've been talking about that for a while in the live streams, and I'm actually scheduled to do a bike fit this coming week. Going to go to a local bike shop and take my Specialized tarmac and finally get fitted. I am going to make a video about it. I discussed the idea of bringing in some cameras and making a video about it, and they seem pretty enthusiastic about it. So I'm excited to do a video on that bike fit. Also, I need to start lifting weights. Just riding a bike, it can only get me so far. I'm also on this weight loss journey that I started last June. I'm sort of to the point in my weight loss where I have to start lifting weights to really get to where I want to get to. So I need to bring some weight training into what I do. I own weights. I just got to motivate myself to get out there and start lifting them. So I am going to make a definitive goal on this 2023 goal list is to do weight training. Overall, I have to say I am very excited about how far my cycling has come, even just since starting this channel at the beginning of the year. Before June of last year, I hadn't ridden much at all, even though I've ridden in the past quite a bit, but sort of started riding the bike a lot more at the beginning of the year, started doing the structured training in ZWIFT, gotten to the point where I can ride a century ride. I don't want to say pretty easily, but I can do a century. It's not that much of a problem. Did my first 200-mile race, which I never would have thought was possible. So at this point, like I said, I'm very enthusiastic, very excited about what is to come. Really want to thank everybody who's been along with me so far on the journey. Have a lot of plans for the future that I will let you know as we go. But hope you enjoyed my little wrap-up video for March and April. If you're not subscribed to the channel, love it if you subscribed, and I will see you later. Thanks a lot for joining me today.